everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting Fulgrim, the Demon Primarch of the Emperor's Children. The second Fulgrim we've done on the channel, but very, very different. This is the all-new one that Games Workshop have very kindly sent me early to build up and paint with all of you. So a huge thank you to them, because this completes our 40k Primarch set. And I am all about completioning. So what we're going to do is jump in and start painting him. He has been primed in grey sear. And really, what we're going to do here is we're going to basically paint him in sections. We're going to start with the wings, and then we're going to move on to somewhere else. I haven't decided where the next thing to do is yet, but we're going to start with the wings, probably move on to him himself, and then do his snake body last. So, the wings. What we're going to do first is we're going to take a roughly 4 parts Terradon Turquoise to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the inside of the wings in a sort of section. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting here, and we're going to be applying this like so, coming along the spine, just avoiding that turned down part of the wing as well. And I'm basically coming up to this knuckle here, like so. And we don't have to do any blending just yet. We will have to do it, but not just yet. And we're going to paint this across the entirety of the inside of the wing. However, the outside of the wing, we're going to do the whole thing like that. So it's pretty simple just to start. And don't worry that there's going to be a hard line there. The wings are actually really, really dark on Fulgrim, so it's okay. Like I said, there is going to be a little bit of blending later on. So with that all done, it's going to seem a little bit weird, but trust me, there's a plan. What we're going to do next is we're going to take some Reikland Fleshshade. We're going to apply this over top of the wing, up here, and the turn back, and this part of the wing membrane. Just like that sort of thing. So with that Reikland Fleshshade all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Luxion Purple. And we're going to apply this over top of this wing membrane here, like so. And we're going to bring it down the arm till around about there. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to blend the purple into the arm, like so. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Like so. I'm going to do it on the other side as well. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Leviathan Purple to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of the spine here. Of the wing. Like this sort of thing. I'm just going to flip it over and do the other side very quickly. Up to the same kind of stopping point, like so. We just missed a tiny little bit on the inside there. There we go. And then, what we're also going to be doing, we're going to take it down the rest of it, but what we're also going to be doing here is we're going to be over the inside of the wings. We're going to be using this to do that kind of blend into the darker area. So we'll actually start just around here. So we're going to start from the bottom. I'm going to get this all over. And again, this doesn't have to be 100% perfect because we're going even darker than this after. Like that sort of thing. And we're going to take this into the Terradon Turquoise. Up to around about there, like that sort of thing. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water. And then we're going to blend it into the Terradon Turquoise. But again, like I said, don't worry if it feels a little bit rough in some places, because we're going even darker after this. Like that. We're going to go across the entirety of the inside of the wings like this. And once that's done, we'll come back. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. And we're going to be applying this over top of the entirety of the wing membrane, basically. And, well, we've got to pick a place to start. We're going to start right in here. Just like this. And we're going to do this across both the inside and the outside, I should point out. And we're going to avoid that last wings spar. And so with that all done, we're then going to do it again. Only what we're going to do now is we're going to blend up into the rest of the wing. I'll demonstrate this on the back. So we're going to once again take our roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. I'm going to bring this up the wing membrane. We are going to do this on the inside as well. I'm going to bring it up to around about the second round of knuckles. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and we're just going to blend it into the single round. Like that. Make it nice and dark. Finally, just to cement the colour of the back of the wings, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to apply this over the top. So with that Nuln Oil all applied, what we're then going to do is over the rest of our kind of remaining details on those wings, excluding the talons and stuff, is we're going to take some Druchii Violet and we're going to apply this over the top of that. So this is going to be the Reikland Fleshshade, the Leviathan Purple and the Luxion Purple. I've got a little bit too much on my brush there. There we go. So we're going to apply this over the top of the turn down. Like so. We come in here. And so with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Volupus Pink. And we're going to apply just a small amount of this up here on the wing membrane. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to give it the blends. It's just a really small amount, but it's just going to kind of bridge the gap between the Leviathan Purple and the Luxion, like so. So with that all done, it's now time to start adding some dry brushes, and the first of these is going to be some Sybarite Green, and we want to very gently now start building this up over the top of the Terradon Turquoise areas on both the outside and the inside of the wings. So with that Sybarite Green dry brush all applied, as you can see, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Gauss Blaster Green. And we want to be really careful here, but we are going to dry brush this over the top, really gently here. To give it that shocking bright green highlight that you can see on the box art. So with the sort of greenish parts now all dry brush, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Genestealer Purple. And we're going to dry brush the inside of the wings in the purple section. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to very carefully take some Emperor's Children, and we're going to dry brush this over little light points that we want to make in the purple around basically just the sort of knuckles and stuff, like that. Just like that. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of the spikes. So with that all done, we're now going to move on from the wings and we're going to work on the snake part. It just makes sense, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to very much tackle this in sections, and we're going to start by taking some Reikland Fleshshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the snake body. We're just going to ignore the big gouge first, and we're only really tackling at first the big kind of, well, the complicated section right at the front. So we're applying this like this over that section. Then we're going to apply this in here as well, and in here. And then this is where the tricky bit comes in. We're going to start applying this over the top of all of this down to right under here. So I'm going to start up here I'm going to apply this like so. I'm going to around about there. Just above the tail. Just like that. So with that Reikland Fleshshade all applied, we're then going to shade it with some Druchii Violet. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Luxion Purple. This is where the blending bit happens. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to, at the top here, we're just going to apply this over the top. Like that. Similar in this corner. Like that. And now, basically what we want is we want a blend that follows this kind of central reservation down to kind of, well, 2/3 of the way down the body. So we're going to apply this Luxion Purple like this over the top of all of this section here. Like so. We're going to keep going to around about there. We're going to keep going until we get to this kind of section around about here, like that. We're going to wick it down like that, and then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to give it a blend all the way along. Just like that sort of thing. And then on the underside, we're basically gonna start all the way down there. I'm going to apply the Luxion Purple mix coming all the way up like this. I'm going to bring it up to around about this kind of section here, and then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to give it a blend on this side. And now we want to come right down this side in here and pull this Luxion Purple all the way up. Like this. Wash the brush and give it a good blending as we go along there, so that we get this kind of tube in many ways. And so with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Shyish Purple. And we're going to apply this over the top of the darkest parts of the blend. So we're going to bring it down like this. Around about there. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then give it the blends. Around that corner there, like that. We've got the same deal on the other side as well. And so with that all done, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Pallid Wych flesh, and we're going to very, very carefully now, across this central reservation, we're going to dry brush it in a kind of circular format. Just kind of buffing up and slowly building up a pale central part of the tummy. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to once again take our roughly 4 parts Terradon Turquoise to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix, and we're going to apply this over the top of the rest of the smooth skin of the snake, including kind of first rung of scales on his back. And so with all of that Terradon Turquoise applied, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lahmian Medium. We're going to apply this over the top, and we're going to do 2 layers of this. Because we want to bring the colour right down. So with those 2 layers of that Black Templar applied, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to once again, just like on the wings, just kind of lock in the flavour a little bit. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Luxion Purple, and we're going to apply this over top of that central reservation of spikes. One thing naturally I haven't noticed until now is actually we've got Fulgrim's, well, his bottom, and we're going to be continuing with the Luxion Purple, and we're applying this over top of that as well. So with that Luxion Purple all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take our roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Shyish Purple, and we're going to apply this over top of it, just like we did on the belly. Just like this. However, the other thing we're also going to do with this is we're going to apply this over top of all of these fins and membranes. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Templar. We're going to apply this over top of the smooth part of this part of Fulgrim's skin. So with that all done, we are back to dry brushing once again. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some Genestealer Purple. And we're going to use this to dry brush all the scales. And this is going to include the ones that we've hit with the Terradon Turquoise. And then similarly, like we did on the wings, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Sybarite Green. We're going to really gently dry brush this over the top of the blackened areas to just catch all of these subtle little wrinkles. In all the black. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to dry brush the fins and their membranes. And so with that all done, what we're then going to do is take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of these kind of scaly things that are in here. Now some of this is armour and some of it's not. We're going to apply this over this section. Just here. Like that. And well, we are going to finish all of those, but the other thing that we're going to do here is we're going to use the Black Legion over the top of excuse me we're going to use the Black Legion over the top of all of the spines on all of those fins. So like this one just here. So with all that Black Legion applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Seraphim Sepia and we're going to apply this over top of the inside track of the, is it a proboscis? Like that. And we'll do it over the top of both sides as well. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red. And we're going to apply this over top of the remaining parts of the tail spike. Like this sort of thing. But what we will also do with the Blood Angels Red is we're going to apply this inside the big wound on the belly. And so with that Blood Angels Red all applied, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade once again. And we're going to apply this over the top of the remaining pulled back skin. But we're also going to use this to shade the red. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Blood for the Blood God. And we're just going to do this now, so that we don't forget. And we're going to apply the Blood for the Blood God in the wound. And so with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Wyldwood mix. I'm going to use this to do a little bit of blending here on the tail spike. So essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to apply this like so over the top of the tail spike. Like this. And we're going to bring it onto the larger bit there. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to just blend it into the rest of the spike. Like that. Apply this over the top of these little bits here as well. And then of course we have the other side to do as well. So with that all done, it's now time to move on to the next detail, which is going to be the sort of capey bit here that you can see. So what we're going to be doing is, as a nod to the Legion, I'm going to take a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Volupus Pink mix. And we're going to apply this over top of the outside of the cloak. And so with that done, because you can never escape it, we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of all of the soft joints and the leather on Fulgrim himself. And so with that all done, we're then going to take, once again, some Reikland Fleshshade. I told you, you can never escape these things. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of Fulgrim's skin. And so with that Reikland Fleshshade all applied, we're then going to take some Druchii Violet. I'm going to use this over the top of Fulgrim's skin, and we're going to now include the pulled back skin on the tummy. So with that all done, what we're going to do now is we're going to take two colours and we're going to thin them down for the first and only time ever on the channel with water. So we're going to be doing Volupus Pink and Aeldari Emerald. And we're going to thin them down with sort of 6 or 7 parts water. We want them to be really, really, really thin. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to start by taking the Volupus Pink. And like I said, it's very, 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 very thin. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the Palatine Aquila, I think is what it's called. As you can see, look at how thin that is. And we're going to apply this like so. Over the top. However, we're going to wash the brush. And then we're going to grab our Aeldari Emerald. And again, just really, 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 really thin here. So we're going to apply this. Over the top, like that. And like that sort of thing. And then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water. Then we're just going to come in here and we're going to muss it about. To give it this kind of almost kind of pearlescent finish. Like that sort of thing. And then we're going to do a very similar thing over the top of the hair as well. I mean, in fact, actual fact, we do need to do the back of the Aquila thing as well. So come in here with the Aeldari Emerald mix. We're just going to apply that like so. Don't need to do too much more to it like that, other than that. So, back to the hair. We're going to take that Volupus Pink, and essentially in just like little areas, we're going to add some little kind of streaks of it into Fulgrim's hair. So, we're just going to apply, for example, maybe down here. Like that sort of thing. And what we can do, because we've got them both mixed down the palette, is we can actually just take a brush load of the Aeldari Emerald and then a little bit of the Volupus Pink just to speed things up. And just go ahead and start applying it. Bit of Volupus Pink on its own now. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do, in a slight departure from the box art, we're going to take some Sigvald Burgundy. We're going to use this for something on the box art, but what we are also going to do with the Sigvald Burgundy is, rather than do a kind of skeleton horde inside of the cloak, we're going to do a burgundy interior of the cloak. That's just because it feels somewhat appropriate. But what we're also going to do with the burgundy is we're going to use this over the top of the grips of all the weapons. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some Terradon Turquoise. And we're going to apply this over the top of Fulgrim's horns. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Templar and we're going to apply this over the top of the horns. And so with that done, at long last, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to apply this over top of, well, all of his armour. Now there's a lot of gold details here, because it is, well, as already said twice, all of his armour. But we're also going to be applying this over top of the various little kind of well, they are triangles mostly. There's little triangles and stuff that are scattered around the places that we've already been. So for example, on the tail there are areas like this little doodad just here, like that for example. Up here on the wings we've got these little sections, just be on the lookout for all of those. But otherwise, take your time. Make sure you get it all. And once it's all done, we'll come back. So with all of that Retributor Armour applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. And we're going to apply this over the top of, well, pretty much all of the remaining details. Now there is going to be a second silver that we're going to do over the straight broadsword. But we are still going to apply this over the top. So with that all done, it's now time to break up that gold a little bit. And, well, we're going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass to do this. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of any kind of large smooth plates. With that Runelord Brass applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to apply this over the top of the straight sword blade. So with that all done, it's now time to add some shades. And you'll never guess which one of them is. That's right, it's Druchii Violet. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the gold details, but not the Runelord Brass plates that we've just done. They're going to be shaded a little differently. So with all that Druchii Violet applied, we're then going to be taking some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to be using this over the top of the Runelord Brass. Just to add a slightly different depth to it. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this over the top of all the silver. So with that all done, Fulgrim is now, well, quite significantly beyond War Hipster Battle ready. But he's now at what I would call a War Hipster Battle ready. So we're going to now take him to the next level. We're going to do this by adding a couple of layers and some highlights. The first of these, we're going to walk through all of the layers first. And the first layer is going to be some thinned down Runelord Brass. I'm going to use this to make those brassy sections just really bright and shiny. So these are the armor plates that we recovered, such as this one here. Like that sort of thing. There we go. So with that Runelord Brass all applied, as you can see, just little pops of shine scattered around the model. Like that. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to apply this over the top of the cutting edges of the blade. Just like that. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Emperor's Children, and we're going to apply this over the top of the flat sections, just avoiding the recesses of our outward parts of the cape, like that. So with that all done, it's now time to add some of those highlights. And, well, the first of these is going to be some dry brushes. We're actually going to do those first. And, well, the colour we're going to be using is some Fire Dragon Bright. We're going to use this to dry brush the tail spike. With that all done, it's then now for time for a very familiar dry brush in the form of some Sybarite Green. I'm going to use this to dry brush Fulgrim's horns. And with that Sybarite Green dry brush applied, we're then going to apply a dry brush of some Gauss Blaster green. And really what we want to do is we just kind of want to focus here on the sharp corner. Like that. And the rear spike as well. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Corax White and we're going to dry brush the hair. You can do the Palatine Eagle as well if you want. But I think I'm going to highlight that later. As you can see, I actually did change my mind and I have dry brushed the Palatine Aquila there on the chest. And I'll just show you the technique for doing so, because we've got our Corax White and we're just going to start down here and just pull it up this way. Like so, which gives you that kind of finish. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to actually start the highlight proper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone and we're going to use this to highlight all of our remaining black details that we haven't dry brushed or anything like that. So it's going to be things like these scales down here. The leather details on Fulgrim. Any spikes and talons. And stuff like that. There's quite a lot of this. So just take your time. And then once that's all done, we'll come back. So with all that Dawnstone now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to add a couple of little spot highlights to the sharpest points on all of those black details. So for example, the tips of the talons. So with that all done, the black details are now finished. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take some thinned down Pallid Witch Flesh and we're going to use this to highlight all of Fulgrim's skin. But this is the kind of the fleshy Druchii Violet stuff that we've done. So we're just going to actually just focus here on the face just for now. We are going to be using this to highlight his face, the turnbacks on the wings and on the tummy, and his arms. So with all that Pallid Witch Flesh applied, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Luxion Purple. And we're going to apply this over top of Fulgrim's eyeballs and his underside eyelid. Or his bottom eyelid is the human way of saying that. With that Luxion Purple applied, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Volupus Pink. And we're going to apply this over the top of his tongue. Like that. And we're going to apply a little bit of it over the top of his bottom lip. Like that. Next up, we're going to take a teensy tiny amount of Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to pick out Fulgrim's teeth. And so with that all done, we then want to take a really tiny little dot of Fulgrim Pink. And we're going to apply this over top of his eyeballs. So with that all done, still sticking with Fulgrim Pink, what we're going to do is two extra things. We're going to use this to add some little kind of highlights inside the wound. Just like that sort of thing. However, we're also going to use this to highlight the pink of the tabard. So with that all done, it's now time to move on to the swords. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some blending here. We're going to start by taking a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Black Templar mix, and we're going to apply this over 2 sections on the broadsword. We're going to apply this like so. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, then we're going to give it the blends into the rest of the blade, like so. Then we're going to do another one at this end. From the hilt, taking it up to once again round about halfway, wash the brush, and then give it the blends, like so. On the other sword, however, what we're going to do is we're going to do it slightly differently, in that we're going to take our Black Templar mix and just over this kind of back part of the blade, what we're going to do is we're going to pull the blade, pull the paint down like so. All the way towards the tip to make it an almost blackened blade on that side. And then we're going to wash the brush. And then we're just going to blend out towards the tip of the sword. Like so. And so with that all done on the swords, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Terradon Turquoise, and we're going to apply this over the top of the blend that we've done on this sword here. Like so. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our silver details. And so with that all done, it's now time to conquer what is going to be the biggest highlight, and that is all of the gold and all of the brass. And one thing you will notice as well, actually, just before we conquer that, is that I have gone in and coloured in all of the gems, including this one on the tummy, for example, with the Iron Breaker at the same time. Anyway, the colour we're going to be using to do all of these gold and brass highlights is some thinned down Canoptek Alloy. And this is going to give us a really nice, bright, shiny highlight for all the gold, but also just give it that kind of slightly more, would you say, Baroque look? Just going to pop a little bit more of kind of age to the gold, as opposed to using something like Liberator Gold, for example. And so with that all done, it is now time to take on our final job, which is to take 3 colours. It's a big job. And those colours are going to be Talassar Blue, Aeldari Emerald, and Volupus Pink. And we're going to be applying these over the top of all of our gems. So, we're not going to be doing them all at the same time, but some of them are going to be at the similar time. So, on the big one, on the tummy, for example, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Talassar Blue, and we're going to apply this over the top of the gem. I've got way too much on my brush there. Like that. Then what we're going to do is wash the brush and grab a little bit of Aeldari Emerald, and we're just going to apply this in there at the same time to create quite an interesting sort of greeny blue colour. Like that sort of thing. However, there's a bunch of them where we're not going to even do that, as mentioned. So we're going to take some Volupus Pink, for example, and we're going to apply this over top of this gem here on the chest. Like that. Or alternatively, Aeldari Emerald just on its own. And we're going to apply this over the top of this gem up here, and the one on the other side. Like so. Just kind of have fun with it. Do what you like. And so with that all done, I did lie to you a little bit there. We are actually going to just add one little final flourish, which is going to be some Ard Coat, and we just thinned it down with a little bit of water, and we're just going to apply this over the top of all the gems just to give them a lovely shine. Just like the rest of Fulgrim. And so with that base now completed in the same style as the rest of the Emperor's Children, I think you can see that recipe on the Noise Marines video. Fulgrim, the Demon Primarch of Slaanesh and Primarch of the Emperor's Children, is now finished. And, well, we've completed the set now. All Demon Primarchs all done. For now. I'm sure there'll be more in the future, but behold! I really like this one. I think he's come out pretty well, if I do say so myself. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.